Somewhere in the world right now, someone is listening to a $30 pair of headphones that genuinely embarrasses cans costing $200, and somewhere else, someone is plugging a $5,000 pair into a $5,000 amplifier and hearing something close to the absolute limit of what recorded sound can be. Between those two people lies one of the most fascinating and most misunderstood ladders in all of audio, the levels of headphones. And today, I am going to walk you up every single rung, from gloriously cheap to genuinely insane. And here is what makes this journey so important, because unlike almost everything else in audio, the headphone world has a brutally honest, well-documented truth running through it, that the ladder is not linear, that the jump from cheap to good is enormous, while the jump from great to insane is subtle, and that knowing exactly where on this ladder the smart money stops could save you thousands of dollars or, if you choose, guide you all the way to the summit with your eyes open. I am going to show you 7 levels, name the real headphones at each one, tell you exactly what your money actually buys as you climb, and give you the honest caveat at every step, because a guide without honesty is just a shopping list. And the 7th and final level, the insane one, is a place most people do not even know exists, where the headphones are almost an afterthought next to the machinery required to drive them. But before the first rung, you need the single most important concept in all of headphones, the one that governs this entire ladder, the law of diminishing returns. The documented consensus across virtually every serious reviewer is blunt and consistent, that the difference between a $50 headphone and a $200 one is dramatic and obvious, while diminishing returns set in hard above roughly $500, and above $1,000 you are paying for refinement, for tiny gains in staging and timbre and build quality, not for dramatic leaps in sound. Hold that curve in your mind the entire way up, because it is the map that tells you which rung is yours. Level 1 is the budget king, the $20 to $40 tier, and this is where the entire hobby should begin, because the value here is so absurd that it genuinely reframes what you think headphones cost. The documented champion is the Koss KPH30i, at around $30, repeatedly described as one of the best value propositions in all of audio, with a warm, engaging tonality that embarrasses many $200 headphones, and its legendary sibling, the Koss Porta Pro, sitting right alongside it. These are not toys, they are genuinely well-tuned headphones that deliver, by the documented estimates, 85 to 90% of the listening satisfaction of $300 headphones for casual listening, from a plug you can drive with anything, a phone, a laptop, anything at all. Quick word before we go further, and then I will not mention it again. Everything I have learned about climbing this ladder wisely, the full method for finding your rung and not overpaying, that did not fit into one video, I gathered into a book, linked in the bio. The video is the short version. The book is the long one. If you want it, it is there. Back to the levels. Here is the honest caveat for level 1. These headphones give up build quality. They are plasticky and will not last forever. They lack deep sub-bass and ultimate detail, and their sound stage is modest. But as proof that great sound is cheap, and as a genuine everyday pair that shames things costing far more, the Budget King is where everyone should start, and where many listeners could honestly, happily stop. Level 2 is the entry tier, roughly $50 to $100, and this is the level where tuning matures and you start getting headphones designed with real intent rather than just value. The documented performers here include the Moondrop Chew 2 and the Samson SR850, competent dynamic driver headphones with genuinely good tuning And at the very top of this bracket, the extraordinary HiFiMan HE400 SE at around $95, which sneaks genuine planar magnetic technology in at a price that was simply impossible a few years ago. This is the level where, if you are willing to add a modest amplifier, you get your first real taste of the technology that dominates the higher rungs. What your money buys here over level 1 is cleaner, more controlled sound, better tuning consistency, and the first hints of real detail retrieval. Here is the honest caveat for level 2. At this price, the competent dynamic drivers still have limited technical performance. The planar options like the HE400 SE start to demand proper amplification to truly wake up, and you are still short of the resolution that the sweet spot delivers. But this is a genuine step up from budget, a real, if modest, improvement, and a sensible landing spot for someone who wants better than the budget king without committing to a desktop setup. Level 3 is where it gets serious, the $100 to $300 tier, and the documented consensus is emphatic that this is the sweet spot for most listeners, the level where price to performance genuinely peaks. Two headphones define this rung, and they are both legends. The HiFiMan Sundara, at around $300, brings planar magnetic technology, faster and cleaner, and more detailed than any dynamic driver at the price, and it is described by many planar enthusiasts as a genuine endpoint for their entire headphone journey. And the Sennheiser HD600 at around $300 is the reference recommendation in continuous production since 1997, with neutral warm tuning and exceptional mid-range transparency that the documented reviews say rivals headphones costing 3 times as much. This is the level where the word endgame starts appearing. Headphones people buy and genuinely stop upgrading from. Quick pause, because I want to hear from you right now. What are you listening on at this very moment? And which rung of this ladder does it sit on? No judgment at all. I am genuinely curious how this community spreads across the levels, and I read every single reply. Here is the honest caveat, and it is the crucial one that changes everything from here up. These headphones demand proper amplification, because the HD600 in particular is a 300 ohm design that sounds thin and lifeless straight from a phone or laptop and only comes alive with a real desktop amplifier. So from this level on, you are committing to a proper setup, budgeting for a clean DAC and amp alongside the headphone itself, because the chain now matters as much as the cans. Level 4 is the $400 to $700 tier, and this is where the documented reviewers say audio performance makes its most meaningful leap, the range where headphones earn the word endgame and often mean it. Here you find the Beyerdynamic DT1990 Pro, a studio reference standard, and the closed-back DT1770 Pro for those who need isolation, alongside the studio workhorses that have proven themselves over decades. What your money buys here is a genuine jump in resolution, in soundstage, in the sheer confidence and control of the sound. But this level comes with the most important documented caveat in the entire hobby, stated plainly by the reviewers, that headphones in this range require dedicated amplification to perform properly, and you should budget a further $150 to $300 for a desktop amplifier alongside the purchase. In fact, the documented advice is striking that a cheaper planar like the HE400 SE plus a good amplifier can outperform a more expensive headphone starved of proper power, because a great headphone on a weak source sounds soft and lifeless, and people wrongly blame the headphone when they should blame the chain. Here is the honest caveat for level 4. You are now spending as much on electronics as on the headphone, This is a genuine commitment, not a casual purchase. And while the leap in sound is real, you are approaching the top of the steep part of the curve, after which the gains start shrinking fast. But for many serious listeners, this is the true destination, the level where the sound stops improving in ways that matter for enjoyment. Level 5 is the flagship adjacent tier, right around $1,000, and this is the level where the documented reviewers draw the great line in the sand, because the jump from $300 to $1,000 is described as dramatic and clearly audible, but above $1,000 the returns turn sharply diminishing. The headphones here are genuinely special. The Hi-Fi-Man Aria Organic, the consensus choice for planar magnetic performance under $1,000, described as approaching flagship tier imaging and transient performance without reaching true summit pricing, and the Focal Clear MG, a superb open-back dynamic. This is the last rung where you can honestly say the money buys a dramatic, clearly audible improvement rather than a subtle refinement. What you get is resolution starting to scrape the ceiling of what is possible, imaging and transient speed that genuinely impress even experienced listeners. Here is the honest caveat for Level 5, and it is documented and specific. Even at this exalted price, build quality can disappoint. The Aria's frame is largely plastic, and owner reviews split on whether that is a non-issue given the acoustic performance or a genuine frustration at the price. And crucially, this is where the diminishing returns curve bends hard. So everything above this level is the steep, expensive part where you pay enormous sums for ever smaller gains. This is arguably the smartest place for a committed audiophile to stop, the point where you get the vast majority of ultimate performance for a fraction of ultimate cost. Level 6 is Summit Fi, the $3,000 to $5,000 tier, and now we have entered the realm where headphones become jewelry, objects of genuine luxury engineering where the sound is extraordinary, but the improvements over the level below are, by every honest account, refinements rather than revolutions. The documented icons here are the Focal Utopia 2022 at $4,999, the flagship dynamic driver crown, using beryllium M-shaped dome drivers to deliver wonderfully wide, detailed and now warmer, more musical sound, the Audeze LCD5, and the Sennheiser HD800S, the near-universal documented choice for soundstage and imaging. These are among the finest headphones ever made, and they are genuinely, audibly superb. But the documented truth is unflinching, that the jump from $1,500 to $3,000 is subtle and may not even be apparent to casual listeners. So what you are buying here is the last few percent, timbral perfection, staging, and exquisite build and materials. Here is the honest caveat for Level 6. You are deep into diminishing returns, paying flagship money for refinement your ears may struggle to fully resolve. These demanding headphones require serious amplification to perform, and the choice between the top planars and dynamics comes down to taste, rather than one being better. So this level is for the person who genuinely wants and can hear and afford the absolute pinnacle, not for anyone chasing value. And now Level 7, the insane tier, the place most people do not know exists, where the headphone is almost the cheap part of the equation. At the very summit sits the Hi-Fi-Man Susvara class, headphones so extraordinarily difficult to drive that they demand not a normal headphone amplifier but genuinely powerful, exotic, sometimes speaker amplifier-driven systems costing as much as the headphones themselves or more. And the documented reality is that at this level the source and amplification matter as much as the headphone. So you are not buying a pair of headphones, you are assembling a 5-figure system. This is the realm of the Ananda Nanos Susvara-derived technology trickling down, of nanometer thickness diaphragms and frequency ranges stretching far beyond human hearing, of listeners chasing the theoretical absolute limit of the medium. Here is the honest caveat for the insane level, and it is the whole point. This tier is almost entirely about the last fraction of a percent, about obsession, craft, and the joy of owning the ultimate, and it makes no rational value sense whatsoever, which the people who buy here know perfectly well and embrace. So here is the principle that ties all 7 levels together. The headphone ladder delivers dramatic, obvious gains from level 1 to about level 4 or 5, and then bends into subtle, expensive refinement all the way to the insane summit, and the single smartest thing you can do is decide honestly how far up the curve your ears and your wallet actually want to go, remembering always that the amplifier and source matter nearly as much as the headphone itself, and that a cheaper pair properly driven beats an expensive pair starved of power. Find your rung, feed it properly, and stop there with no regret. Save this, send it to anyone about to climb this ladder blind, and tell me in the comments which level you are on and which one you are eyeing next. A thumbs up genuinely helps this reach the people about to overspend, and subscribing means the next one finds you too.